into this. Now I can't believe you've managed to tighten your grip on me. Shut my eyes. Now I can't sleep.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the To The Point podcast. I am your host, Zach Bloom, alongside...
I'm Sean McCormick.
Sean, it's opening day today.
Let's go, baby. Let's go. You're in first. We're in first.
Everybody's in first.
Everybody's
today.
happy.
Even the A's, the Marlins.
Undefeated.
Yeah. It's all happiest day of the year.
Yeah. For baseball fans.
Yeah, for baseball fans. Yeah. Otherwise, it's just another shitty day in March. Any predictions?
The Mets.
Division winners and then World Series.
I'll just do NL East. You do AL East if you want. I think the NL East will be won by the Braves. I think the Mets will finish in second. Wild card again. I'll do World Series after.
Cool. I will go the Yankees in first place.
Yeah.
I think the Red Sox will finish in second behind them. I think they have a much better team this year. I also think the Braves will be first in the East, but I do think the Phillies will be in second, though I do think the Mets will be in the playoffs. I think it'll be like last year where all three of those teams make the playoffs in the East.
Yep.
Who you got in the World Series?
Well, Dodgers are going to win the World Series. Just put your money on that now.
It's a safe bet.
Yeah, so the question is who's playing the Dodgers, right? Mm-hmm. And so I want to say it's a repeat of last year, but the Yankees have some holes they need to make at the top of the rotation to get there. If they trade for Dylan Cease, I put them in the World Series.
Yep.
If not, dude, that's a really tough one, honestly. I'd probably say this is going on a limb, and probably most people are going to be like, you're nuts. I'd say Boston.
Okay. I'll go with my early 2025 prediction. I go with the Yankees over the Dodgers. Not looking as likely now with some of the injuries, but I do think they have a solid lineup where a few things can go right. They'll have a really good lineup, and I think they'll make a trade. I don't know if it's for Cease or someone, but they'll get a big arm in there.
Well, if they get the guy from the Marlins, that changes a lot of things too.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll see what happens. I think, the team that's going to be on the field today is not going to be the team that they have in July.
I feel like we're in a Dunkin' Donuts commercial.
Yeah, today, dueling Dunkin' Donuts. I got John's order today on the way in. He kind of threw me for a loop with an iced tea.
You're like Ben Affleck, doing the commercials.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think I've said on an episode before,
I'm Matt Damon, obviously.
I have a cadence down with the Dunkin' Donuts people where they just ask hot or cold, and today's ice, and then I got an iced tea for you, and Ish, the woman that got it for me, was kind of thrown for a little bit of a loop.
That's fair.
And she's iced tea.
Didn't we previously have a debate on who's Matt Damon and who's Ben Affleck?
We may have in the past. Yeah. That sounds like something
I think we both want to be Matt Damon.
Well, I would be kind of like Matt Damon. You're more of a Ben Affleck.
Completely disagree. You like apples?
This is all coming back now.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, thank you for humoring us with that. Happy opening day and happy episode of To The Point podcast. We have a great guest today. We have Andre Humber from Innovation Direct Group. He's the founder and the CEO. Does a lot in the Paypercall space, specifically in insurance, Medicare, ACA, a few other verticals. So happy to have him on the show, and should be fun.
Look, he's built a really incredible business over the years through media buying and has an incredible story. I think he's someone that doesn't self-promote in the industry.
No.
And so a lot of people will probably be just getting to know him for the first time.
Yeah. I think I met him at like an industry dinner 3 or 4 years ago. Incredibly humble, nice guy, and just kind of built a relationship from there. So I'm excited to get to interview him so other people can get to know him.
Let's get to the point.
All right. So we have today on the To The Point podcast, Andre Humber, who owns Innovation Direct Group. He's doing some great things in the pay-per-call space, specifically for insurance, a few other verticals. Andre, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on.
We're happy to have you. And it's opening day today. Do you have a baseball? Are you a baseball fan?
Not really, if I have to be honest.
He prefers sports, I think.
I think he's a big football fan. So.
Are you?
Yeah. The Eagles.
Wow. You're still riding that high, that dopamine high, huh?
I am. I can't believe it.
Can you spell Eagles? Because a lot of the Eagles fans that we've heard on these audio clips screaming in the city can't really get the team name right.
That's low.
Wow.
That's
I
low.
believe I can, though.
Okay. Yeah. No, there was like a viral thing where even the mayor got it wrong.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, and it's like, I don't know if it's taken off on purpose or they just can't spell it.
I haven't seen that.
So, Andre, I'm a big Patriots fan. I always have been. the Philadelphia, was it the Philadelphia Shuffle or no,
The Philly special.
the Philly Special absolutely broke my heart. But we did sign one of your players, your defensive players this year, Milton. Or is it
Yes,
Milton?
you did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yes, you did.
is he a beast, or is he, or was that an overpay for the Patriots?
No, he's definitely a beast. That's
He's
a
wrecked
win
the
for you
Giants
guys.
last year, so happy to have him out of the
Mhm.
division. That's a win for us, too. Double win. Well, Andre, so thanks for coming on. I know we're kind of wrapping up the open enrollment period for Medicare right now. You guys over at Innovation Direct Group, I know you do a lot in the Medicare space. Open enrollment comes on the heels of annual election period or annual enrollment period, AEP. Busy time for Medicare, so coming off these 5-6 months here, how is everything looking for you guys? What's your take on the Medicare industry and the performance marketing, specifically the call space?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we did have a really good OEP. We're transitioning most of our ads to the SEP, which is after, Monday, I believe, is the 31st. So going into April. My take on Medicare, it's always going to be an evolving landscape. So you have to be able to pivot with, the new regulations, CMS, the whole nine. So it's about pivoting. The quicker you can pivot, the better I believe that you will be longevity wise in Medicare.
Yeah.
Did you feel like this year, I guess the kind of the 24-25 season, were there many regulatory changes like there had been in previous years, or was this more of a smooth season?
I would say a combination of both. There were definitely some changes from CMS that we needed to abide by, but more importantly, the industry as a whole, including the tracking platforms, was a bit much to take on. Now with real-time bidding and agent availability, those were some of the obstacles that we had to overcome with our buyers, and we're still in the process of doing so.
So I know we've spoken offline a little bit about this, some of your pain points with RTB and agent availability. I guess, for people listening to this podcast in our industry, you guys do a lot of volume in Medicare. What's your take on that? How has it affected, what you do as a business owner?
It's definitely impacted us more so in a negative way than in a positive way. We understand why agent availability is there along with RTB, but as an owner or a visionary, trying to forecast ad spend, it's pretty difficult because every day we're forecasting, hey, we're going to spend X amount for, these creatives on this ad platform. But if there's no agent available to pick up that call, then we have no other way to re-engage that consumer and get them back involved to come through the flow again. So it's kind of, money out the door or dropped per se that we actually have to bake into, our cost. And as you know, marketing has increased over the period. I would say, quarter over quarter, you can see that CPCs and CPMs are higher, but the payouts are the same for Medicare, right? Yeah. So it's not an equal playing field per se.
So you bring up a good point with changing distribution needs on a daily basis based on agent availability. What impact, if any, does having to change your spends in the platforms have to the algorithm? Do you start to see different pricing, and will that sometimes drop pricing as well?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It will drop pricing. It will increase pricing. Sometimes our accounts will stop spending and go into a learning phase, which is, it's just something that we have to deal with. But, in the middle of the day, if you get a pause notification or can you drop 3 states or, we're having a technical issue, it's pretty hard to, just make that change on the fly. Obviously, we do it, but it is impacting us as a whole.
Yeah. How do you manage the morale of your team when you have lower revenues and sometimes profitability because of agent availability or different targeting? I mean, do they start to get kind of fed up or disappointed with the rapid changes when things are going really well, and then you ask them, you put up the stop sign? How do you deal with keeping their LAL up?
Great question. Really great question. So I have other team members within the organization who, I'm just the face of it, but I can't take all of the credit. We do have a chief revenue officer and a director of operations, as well as quality control. We come together as a team and we put our heads together and we figure out the strategy to go next. So having a very strong support system, I think, goes a long way with morale across the board. Whether it's negatively or positively, we have a good sound structure here at IDG.
So it sounds like to me, you put an emphasis on the hiring process, right? Getting the right people in the right seats.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any way that you look at bringing in the right people? Is it a very strategic approach? Is it usually people you know? Is it multiple rounds of interviews? How do you get the right people in the right seats?
Perfect question. So about 2 years ago, we've implemented a strategy called EOS, which
Oh
is
yeah.
Entrepreneurial Operating Systems. Yeah. So prior to, we would, go through the HR process if you're a good candidate. But now, there's a checklist, right, that we go through. We want to make sure that they fit our core values, our culture, and to ensure that we have the right person in the right seat, right? First and foremost, that goes a long way. We have a very slow hiring process, and we do that on purpose, right, to ensure that this candidate is going to not only strive and hit the ground running, but they have all the tools that they need once they start. So we have proper things in place, such as like SOPs. When they come in, it's just, here you go, here's the playbook, anything you need. We're very communicative within the organization. So I think that goes a long way too. But, it's one of those things where it's a trial and error type of ordeal. I would say we have a 60 to 90 day onboarding period just to make sure that, it's a smooth transition. We can see how you work, under pressure in a normal environment and things like that. So we do have other people in the organization that actually follow that particular route. And just to, touch base with them on a daily and a weekly basis to make sure that any new hires or even existing members have everything they need to succeed.
So really quick question, just a follow up, and I know you have a bunch as well, but going back to implementing EOS, how did you come across EOS, and what has your experience been so far?
So I had a media buyer tell me one time, he was like, "Man, you're always online." And I was like, "Yes, I'm always online. I'm working." He was like, "Well, you have to learn to delegate." And as he's telling me this, I'm writing an email. So it's going in one ear and out the other. And I'm like, okay, I'll look into it, kind of brushed it off a little bit. Fast forward about 6 months later, another colleague within the industry was like, "Man, we just completed this system for our company and it changed us completely." And I'm like, "Well, what's the name of that? I'm interested." And he's like, "It's EOS." And I'm like, "Dude."
Love that.
How have you grown since implementing from like a headcount standpoint?
Well, we've played musical chairs, so we've had to hire, and unfortunately, we've had to let go. But I would say it's not about the number, it's about the quality of people that we have here.
Sure.
So we're still a lean, mean company. We're less than 20. But I would say that every person within that seat, their accountability, we're holding them accountable. They know what their roles and responsibilities are. But I would say it did help clean up, the quality of people that we had within the organization.
Excellent. So I guess, you're a business owner. Why and how did you start IDG? We had a guest on that brought up a good point, I thought. Most of us don't grow up wanting to be in affiliate marketing or, a digital marketer. So everybody
Correct.
has somewhat of a unique start to this space. So what's your kind of origin story?
I started in performance marketing back in 2007. What is that? About 18 years ago?
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah, I'm getting up there. So when I started, I had hair just like you, right? But unfortunately, over the years, kind of dwindled away. But ultimately, I was working for another company where we mainly focused on data. We were a data house. We did a lot with education, reverse mortgage, refi, new purchase. And from there, it's like, okay, well, what else can we do? I was with that company for about 6 years. And then I started IDG in 2014. So we just passed our 11th birthday. When formulating IDG, I'm like, well, I want to do something different other than, monetizing data. Like, what else can I do? I had my full book of business at that time. And, I got into Paypercall slowly. It was something that I discovered along the way. I didn't really know about it in 7, but, fast forward to now, it's something that definitely changed our lives and something that we've adapted to.
Nice. Was there a certain vertical in Paypercall that kind of got you started? Was it insurance or was it something else?
So I started out with credit repair. It was credit repair. And being that we are based in South Florida, which is one of the hot spots for call centers, typically in the space, someone that has a call center here in Florida. And shortly after credit repair, I got into U65, short-term indemnity. And that's where things took off, right? So we were selling calls to these partners here in South Florida. And that's how I got my taste in the insurance space.
Got it. Yeah, no, definitely a hotbed down there for call centers. Are you originally from Florida? You kind of born and raised there, Or are you a transplant?
Originally, I was born in Delaware, raised in Georgia, and I moved to Florida in 2003. You don't get many people from Delaware, do you?
No, just Banks.
What part of Delaware are you from?
Wilmington.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice area because you're right on that Pennsylvania kind of border right over there.
Yep, exactly.
So I guess, obviously business owner comes with its ups and downs for sure. Stressful time of year, AEP, OEP. What do you like to do to alleviate some stress? Blow off a little steam, so to speak.
I would say I train. I weight train Monday through Friday before I get into the office. It just helps me with coping with just the day-to-day stuff through like being in the weeds, answering emails, calls. Outside of that, I do jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai, which also helps. But that's really it. Outside of that, I'm a family man. I have 2 kids. So if I can find an hour to squeeze in a quick workout, I will. Outside of that, I'm at the playground or watching Bluey with my daughters.
I love that.
What kind of movies are on the TV these days?
Elsa. That's it. Elsa and Bluey.
On a 24-hour stream.
Just
Exactly.
Elsa.
Yeah, it's a loop.
So Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu, weight training. Do you think the Medicare agencies know this when their agents aren't picking up the phone that you could kind of show up at the office and scare the shit out of them?
They don't, but maybe I'll use that in my next meeting with them. Just throw that out there a little bit,
Just show them, send them a quick clip of you training.
Yeah, we'll make a short reel of you doing some moves and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're a football fan, like Saquon doing the squats.
Exactly. Done deal. We'll do it.
Smart. We'll do the terrible Terry Tate video.
Yeah.
Besides EOS, have there been any other systems or strategies that you've implemented that you found helpful?
Not as impactful as EOS. We have.
Yeah.
There's some that are very minor, but I think EOS by far takes the lion's share of the cake.
And is your company a Teams company or a Slack company?
Oh my gosh. Slack all the way, man.
Amen.
Slack.
Amen.
Yes.
Slack all the way. Everybody, the big buzz, and at least on LinkedIn in the industry, is Skype's going away.
Yep.
I know. I think we've spoken on Skype a few times, Andre. You and I are more
Over the years.
so text buddies, but we have Skype. Are you moving to Teams or Telegram or something else?
We've transitioned over to Telegram and also opened up Slack a little bit more with our strategic partners. I'm with you. I'm kind of happy that Skype is going away, but I have it everywhere. It's on my mobile, it's on my laptop, it's on my PC, and it's a lot of noise, a lot of outside noise. So
I'm just concerned, where's everyone going to find their fraud traffic now that Skype's gone?
they're way ahead of you, man.
Or their crypto chats.
I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll do the crypto chats.
I get invited to a lot of crypto chats.
Yeah, me too.
So don't hit those links.
Nope.
But don't open it.
No, not at all.
So, Andre, are you guys a remote shop, or do you have some people in an office? How does it work out for you guys?
We're remote. We're fully remote, and we have people located, on both East and West Coast. So it works out for us. 6 o'clock here. It's only 3 o'clock there. We still have things live, campaigns that are live, so people are monitoring. But we have it around the clock, I would say.
Is it hard to do team building with remote employees? How do you kind of navigate that?
It is, but I would say, I don't micromanage, right? I provide a task, or the leader of that department, the manager of that department will provide a task, and we expect it to be done by a certain time. We also use Monday.com as our CRM, so we can log throughout the day and see what's actually being done. We do have 5 meetings a year in person, so everyone will come to the base here in South Florida. We'll have a meeting for 2 or 3 days. But it is a struggle because when I did work in an office, you have that camaraderie, you can actually feed off of each other's energy. It's a little different being remote, but I also have been remote for so long that, I believe this is the new wave prior to COVID.
Yeah, I think our industry is probably a little bit ahead of the curve in being able to adapt to that.
For me, I like being remote. I know others, they want to be in an office, but as I mentioned before, in terms of daily task or weekly task and things like that, during the HR process, we want to make sure that, you don't need to be micromanaged in that. So for our team members, they love being remote.
Makes sense. So, I know you said you're switching over to SEP mode for Medicare right now. So for 2025, you have kind of what's on the docket in terms of both Medicare expansion, and then any other verticals that you guys are focused on for this year?
So for Medicare, we're working with our partners now and making sure, their KPIs are being met first and foremost. And then, our creatives are, SCP up to par, ready to go. We've already made that transition. We already have calls coming in from SCP creatives. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve, which is great. In terms of other verticals, we recently relaunched ACA just because of the vertical alignment with Medicare, working with agencies there as well and growing and helping them grow their CRM and their consumer base as well.
Nice. How's that going? Have the same issues with kind of availability or RTB type of offers, or are you having some more success with people picking up the phone?
So with ACA, we experienced the same heartburn with RTB, but we do have a handful of agencies that have provided us a static DID. So that way we can actually forecast what we're going to spend that day, that week, particularly for them. And they actually like the idea of static because we can control the concurrency cap, we can control the daily cap, and also obviously how many pings we can send them. But for ACA, for us particularly, the pickup rate is a lot better than in Medicare, for whatever reason that may be. We're still trying to troubleshoot that.
Interesting. Or same thing, that it's been a little bit smoother of late.
Right.
Pickup rates.
I don't think you need to talk to CMS anymore, do you?
Well, I think ACA is heading in the same direction as Medicare. There's probably a few bad apples that pretty much ruined it for a lot of us. But, when everyone goes left, we go right. So if CMS is getting involved, then sign me up because there's no other way, right? I think if, they're going to get rid of the bad apples, then obviously we're doing everything correct and compliant. So we have nothing to be afraid of. All of our ads and landers have been approved by our agencies and we're doing well.
Where, with all of these issues you've had with agent availability and pickup rates, as someone that does a lot of in-house media like you guys do, where do you think this ends with the companies and the agencies? Do you think there's going to be some changes on the insurance end, or do you think they're just going to keep doing things their way and hope everybody complies? You think you guys meet in the middle?
In terms of the RTB?
Yeah.
In a perfect world, I wish they would do away with it, right? But I do understand why they have it. I just think that the power and the control is in the buyer at this point. We're making some internal changes using, some proprietary software that we have to help us with the no connects. But as a whole, I would say, speaking with others in the industry, agent availability has become, an issue across the board. Doesn't matter the vertical. If we could meet in the middle, I would be happy, but I don't see the buyers doing that at this point. I think it's here to stay, and us as marketers, we have to be able to adapt to it. My favorite line is, oh, well, you could sell it to your other buyer. If my other buyer was available, we wouldn't be having this conversation, right? But you got to love it. You got to love it.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope for sure, and not every buyer has the same approval on all the ads as well.
Correct.
There's different cohorts. There's a lot of things to take into account, right? If we
Correct.
can just move to like a universal approval system of the ads, that would certainly make things a lot easier.
It would make things much easier, yeah. It's a lot of I think, lack of communication, right? No one really knows what to do.
I like the way you think, Sean. That was great.
Thank you. So I guess maybe changing gears for a second and going back to the start of IDG, Andre, were you like the first media buyer in the company? Do you buy media?
So correction, I'm not a media buyer.
You're not?
I'm not a media buyer. I'm learning from my team day by day on things that they have to juggle. If I had to start over again, I would definitely be a media buyer.
Yeah.
Right? I think it's interesting. No 2 days are the same, but media buyers are the golden nugget, right? Prior to, I figured I would just create, an ad, throw it on Facebook, throw it on Google, calls would start to come in. Boy, did I have that wrong. Had no idea, about landing page optimizations and clicks and impressions. And man, it's a long list, but I'm learning and I find it very interesting.
It's funny, when I was growing up, my dad used to always say, we want a doctor and a lawyer in the family, right? And I tell my kids, we need a programmer and a media buyer in the family. So if we can get those two things, we'll be all right.
I like them.
I have 4 kids, so one of them might be a chiropractor.
That's a good...
we need that. So I guess going back to at what point in the business did you say, I need to hire somebody to generate calls and hire a media buyer to to help us get to the next point in the business?
About 3 years ago. About 3 years ago, we started to bring our campaigns internal. I did see a shift in the market where, a lot of buyers were asking for owned and operated landing pages and calls. And that's what intrigued me to make that transition about 3 years ago.
And did you jump right into the deep end? Did you hire someone part-time? How did you kind of navigate starting something from scratch, but also it's an investment, right? And
Correct.
So in that investment, did you just find the right person? You're like, okay, I'm going all in on this, or was it kind of step into the shallow end and slowly move to the deep end as you felt more comfortable with that person?
Correct. So we take the approach of 0 to 10, 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and so on. We don't just jump straight into the deep end. I did hire actually a few people, one in which is still here 3 years later, who has gradually learned the ins and outs of media buying, as well as many of the other facets that come with it. I would say, fast forward to today, we have our media team broken up into like a pod per se, but we do have 2 juniors and a senior media buyer who we have daily stand-ups with, and they're teaching me things every day.
That's awesome. And so when you said you kind of went from the shallow end to the deeper end gradually, was that with someone that you had known, or did you post an ad on like Indeed and find someone? How did you go about the process?
So the first person I found was through a colleague of mine. It was word of mouth. And then the second person I found was actually through Unique 360, Carlos, one of his groups. And it was just a small conversation that continued to happen day after day, week after week, and then one phone call and a video conference. And I could see that the recipient was very eager and very hungry and determined. So I said, let me give this guy a shot. Fast forward 3 years, and here he is. Hot shot.
I told you Unique is a...
Oh, yeah. Well, Carlos runs a great...
breeding ground of media buyers.
Yeah, well, I think that's Carlos's model. He kind of trains people to, be sub-affiliates for his stuff. And he's great for the industry, too. He's
maybe if
one of the best.
Neither of our kids become media buyers, we can adopt someone from that group.
Yeah. Go handing out papers.
Put them right into the will.
Oh, man. What's your dream vacation?
My dream vacation, I would say...
No computers.
Europe. No computers.
Yeah.
My anxiety went through the roof already.
Got to shut off for a week.
Impossible. Haven't done that in 15 years. But my dream vacation would be Europe, right? Maldives, and probably spend a few weeks in Africa on the safari.
Wow.
Awesome.
It's quite the... it's going to be hard to get internet from a lot of those places. Yeah.
Is it a week?
Well, I didn't hear the week part.
Whatever. You do you.
That's funny.
We're on tour.
That's it.
And then, with the weight training and the MMA and all of that, what's your go-to meal on a big cheat day?
Oh,
we don't want to hear about like the chicken breasts and the, broccoli. That's not fun.
Has to be a burger, a good burger. Yeah.
Nice. We're going to do a competition in our town for best burger, I think, right?
Yeah, we have a former colleague that we have had a disagreement on who has the best burger, so we're going to do a tour of a couple different burger places and figure out which one. But those aren't cheat days for us; those are normal eating days.
Yeah, that's the cheat days of the healthy meal.
Please send me an invite for that. I want to be there.
Oh yeah, anytime, man.
Absolutely, 100%. I guess my last question for you is: I haven't had much luck getting my beard as big and as puffy as yours. Do you have any secrets for those that have beard envy?
Man, listen, I have no idea. It came from the head and transitioned down. That's really it. That's what I tell people. That it really happened. No secrets.
All right,
it's phenomenal.
That's a good beard.
It's a great beard. Best beard in the business, maybe.
Yeah, it's up there.
We should have like a bracket for that.
Yeah,
we got some good beards in our space, but that's that's a top 3 beard.
It's up there. Yeah, I like it.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about? Anything that you want to say that we should?
Not necessarily, but I would say if I had to say one thing, being the visionary, I don't really call myself the owner, right? I'm a visionary. People don't work for me. They see the vision of the company and have decided to join. But being in, this position, sometimes you neglect the ones closest to you, your loved ones. As I mentioned, when I was originally doing a majority of the heavy lifting, my kids, my fiance, I wasn't there for a lot of things. So I will say that it does come with its pros and cons. Try to surround yourself and stay grounded, right? Surround yourself with like-minded people. If you need to, get you a mentor. But, this too shall pass, right? So just keep keep yourself grounded. You're going to have your ebbs and flows, but just know that you won't always be, on the valley floor. You will be at the mountaintop sooner or later. Just keep going. Keep going.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, it's a lonely business sometimes being an entrepreneur, especially a founder. I mean, you bring up a good point where I think it gives you a lot of flexibility to do a lot of things, but at the same time, you also have to treat the business like family too. So you miss some things.
Absolutely.
Over the years, is there any one tip or, one piece of advice that you'd give someone in a similar position to have some kind of a work-life balance and make sure that you are still there for family?
Yeah. I don't know if you can really say work-life balance because I haven't figured that out, right? And I don't think many successful people have figured that out. I think you just need to prioritize what needs to happen, right? So if you have a graduation, make sure you attend the graduation. Work will be there when you get back, right? If you have a wedding, attend the wedding. Work will be there when you get back. However, you have to be able to prioritize what that looks like. It's kind of hard to say we're going to cut off right at 5 o'clock today,
Sure.
Because we all know in this space, it's actually 7 days a week. It's not Monday through Friday. So you do have the ability to work weekends. But, that being said, just prioritize what's important to you. Right? What's important to you? What's important to your family? Do those first and then come back to the work.
Yeah, I think one thing I've learned, and that's a really good point, Andre, is I'll take my kids to their sporting events and I'll also bring my laptop, right? So if there's downtime, I can crank out a hour worth of emails or get something done. And I think we're in an industry and a time and space that you can really step away from the office, but still get a lot done. And you can be present, right? You could be, if your kid's in karate, your kid's not going to be doing testing for their black belt the whole time. There's going to be a bunch of other kids doing it. And
sure,
once your kid comes, you close the screen and you're present for that.
Correct. I agree. I'm the same way. Right?
Yeah.
My phone or my laptop is with me 24/7. Like you said, we're in an industry where you don't necessarily need to be in an office. You could be remote. Just work efficiently, right? As efficient as you can, but be present.
Well, Andre, it's been an absolute gift getting to know you a little bit more. We appreciate you coming on to the point.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Thank you so much for your time, your insights, and we wish you best of luck with IDG this year and moving forward.
Thank you guys very much. It was an honor to be on. So thank you for having me and great getting to know you a little bit more as well, Sean. Yeah, I think Zach and I have some unfinished business offline that we can take care of. So
is it? Please tell me it involves Muay Thai.
It's not a fight.
Or jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I love that guy.
We're not going to the octagon, so
yeah, no.
Damn it.
No, we're not doing that.
I have to hire someone. If anybody wants to reach out to you, we'll post this in with the link to this podcast. What's the best way to get in touch with Andre?
Through email, andre@innovationdirectgroup.com. We do have a company website. We're on all of the social media handles, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's at Innovation Direct Group.
Okay.
Thanks, Andre.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.
All right. Well, that was Andre Humber from Innovation Direct Group. Remember, if you want to get in touch with him, send him an email or go to the website. We'll put all that information along with the link. That was a fun, interesting interview. He's, comes across as very, very genuine. And as someone that knows him, kind of what you see is what you get. That's the real Andre.
Yeah, I'd say that, if I had to describe him in 2 words just on our conversation, I'd say genuine and discipline, right? He seems like he has a really solid routine. Anyone who implements EOS, you have to be disciplined with doing that. And it sounds like he has a team that also helps keep him on track. But incredible guy. He's built a really strong business and probably doesn't get enough of the accolades and praise in the space that others do because he doesn't self-promote.
Well, we will cheerlead for him so he starts getting that a little more. But yeah, no, I think you kind of just brought it up too. And what he's done well is build a strong team, which is something, it's a struggle for entrepreneurs and founders to do, is finding those right people, right? Like you could build a big company and hire anybody and everybody and it falters. You might look good on paper, but if you don't have the right mix, it's not going to work out.
We should start a podcast where we just interview the number 2 and number 3 people of the company, right? Like, I feel like our industry, there's a lot of self-promotion, but a lot of the grit, grind, like a lot of the stuff, the things that people that get shit done.
Yeah.
Right.
The blue collar work, right?
Yeah. We don't get to ever hear from them, see them. They're often not at the trade shows. Like the people that are like the heroes of these companies, don't get enough praise.
Well, we have some OGs coming up in the
Yeah.
space in the next few episodes.
Let's let them call out their top
We'll
peeps.
let them call out, and then we'll, maybe this summer we'll start to get some of the workers.
Maybe get a little dirt on some of the people that came on previously.
That's right.
I'm
Now
looking
that
at you.
Andre gets he'll kick your ass.
No.
Anyway, till Sunday.
I'm looking at you, Paluzzi.
He's got a closet.
Also, want to mention that this episode was sponsored by Firewise.
I was going to say this was a fire episode, so
Yeah.
glad you bring that up.
Yeah,
So,
for all of your fire stop and fire needs, Firewise Consulting in California. Brent Johnson, CEO.
you could find him speaking at any number of conferences or trade shows, spouting his knowledge.
Big LinkedIn guy.
Huge. As always, thank you for your sponsorship and the partnership. Sean, anything else you want to close with?
I hope we get a Mets Yankees World Series.
That would be fantastic. Be
Right.
good for the show.
No, I'd be nice.
All right. Well, that was our episode today. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
You know I need it, baby. Even if I suffocate, you gripped a